Okay, we're going to continue our discussion of the box model. And here we're going to talk about, let's go back to our box model. Let me save workshop web page. Great. So we talked about the borders in our previous lesson. And now what we want to do is talk about how we can use margins to separate some of the elements that you might have on the page. Let's say you have images and you want to keep them separated from a table, or images and keep them separated from text. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to create a margin between the two. The other thing that we're going to be talking about is an outline, and I'm actually going to start with the outline first because that's kind of just a finishing touch or a flourish, a design element that you might put on one of the things that you put on a page. So let's go into edit first. So I have an image here. I have two images and some text, and you can see it shows up. There are no style tags here at all, so it's just the two images, same image, and then some text. And let's just say, let's put a border on this first, or put a border on both images. Okay, so we'll do image, then we'll do a border, we learned how to do. And we'll say 10 pix, solid, green. Okay, so we want to do, I'm going back to our lesson here. It says create the outline outside of a solid green border. So we're going to have a solid green border on both of our images. And then I want to create an outline. And the outline is something outside of the border that you can use. So I'm going to say outline equals, let's say, 5 pixels. And we'll do solid red. Okay, so this is going to put a solid red outline outside of the border for both. Now you can see that these images are right next to each other, and that's where we might be able to start using some padding. So this is basically, you can do your first element of the assignment right out the gate. Just create an outline, and you can see here that for the outline you can specify the outline. You can put all of them in one declaration like I did, or you can do outline color, colon, outline style, colon, outline width, colon, and then here are some of the attributes that you can use. But as we've been doing mostly, you can just put, this is width, style, color, right? All right. But now let's say I don't want them to be so close. And we're going to be studying in our later lessons, actually in a couple lessons, we're going to be talking about taking complete control over where we put elements on the page. Whether it's images or text or tables or frames or any of that stuff, we're going to have complete control over that. But what we want to do right now is just create some padding, some margins between either the sides of the page or the basically to the left, right, top, or bottom of the element. So what we want to do here is let's create image. Actually, we do that here. So I'm going to do margin equals 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels. And what that does is it's going to create 100 to the left, 100 to the top, 100 to the right, 100 to the bottom. You can see it even makes it so big that it pushes it off onto another line. All right. So let's tone that down a little bit so we can see how that will play out. All right, so you can see I spaced off the side a little bit, I spaced off the top a little bit, I spaced off to the right a little bit, and then I spaced off the bottom a little bit. Let's double it so that we can see how that plays out. Now remember, this is putting the 20 on both of the images. All right, so you can see it goes down a little bit more, over a little bit more, drop a little bit more. Let's create a style tag for the image so that we can see for the div text, so we can see how close we are to it. So I'm going to do div border equals 2 pixels solid green, just so we can see where that stays up. All right, so now if I add another 10 pixels here, so make that 30, 30, 30, and 30, you can see it'll get even bigger still. And that actually moves it off the side of the page. Now let's do something here. Let's change it so that this image is only a certain class. We're going to call that the green border class. And so now I'm going to specify that this is the class green border so that we can see how this is only going to apply to one of our images. All right, so you can see that this image is normal as is. This image has all the attributes and it has the padding from the different elements. Okay, and let's make that a height of 100. Okay, so you can see that I now I'm there. Some of the things we're going to be talking about in a couple later lessons is how we are relative, how images and elements that you put on the page are positioned relative to the other elements and to the page. But you can see here that I'm spaced off 30 here. I'm spaced off 30 here. I'm actually spaced off 30 here to the right. But because I'm on line with this image and I haven't taken advantage of some of the position styles that we'll be dealing with later, I'm sort of at the mercy of the size of this image. All right. But so I said create two images that are separated using margins, change the top, bottom, left, right margins to experiment with how the margins work. If we go here, you'll see that you want to go, I'll actually put some stuff in here about which margin is left and which margin is right. But you can experiment with these, experiment with the different sizes to see how you move them off. Basically, though, remember what you're doing is you're not worried so much about positioning on the page. You're just saying how much space do you want to have between this item and the next item that is in the text. And so right here we have, this is positioned because of these margins here. This has 30 pixels between it and the next image. It has 30 pixels to the left of the image against the text here. But as we said, we're not taking complete control over positioning until we deal with it later. So right now what I want you to get out of here is the ability to create an outline and the ability to create some margins that separate, that create some space for your images or your elements on the page. All right?